There we go. Yeah, okay. Feels good to be back. Feels good to be back. There really is no place like OHIO. But plan for tonight's lift, or actually this afternoon's lift, is finally to go nuts with arms. As much as I don't mind, traveling around and getting to do different gyms and different whatever, and some of them are super cool. So it's like it really does end up being like a bonus to get to see different gyms with different people in them. There's nothing like your home court, that's for sure. So plan beyond just getting my arms as pumped as possible will kind of just evolve once we get in there. So definitely push downs, curls, but the actual specifics beyond that, well, not so picky. I guess we'll kind of just have to see. So I've been running off of not the most ideal sleep schedule. Last night kind of turned into, well, let's just say a lot of driving, but as long as you get some fuel in your system, plus at least a little bit of freaking, grit in your gears, then you should be good. But yeah, we're getting into full swing of things. October. Yeah, this isn't freaking September anymore. Month 10. How many people out there, how many people do you know or made a post where it's like, shit, man, 2025? You're not even going to recognize me at the end of this year. You're not even going to... We're not going to be in the same league by the end of this year, bro. All right, you'll see. Just wait for it. Well, here we are. We're at the end. This isn't like it's February and you're not, you haven't totally launched into your whatever routine. Like you're still getting there. Like, oh, I've got time. It's October, man. But even though it really doesn't look like it, once it starts to cool down, I think there's going to be a little bit of a mentality shift. There's something about nice weather, sunny, warm, breezy, where it's not exactly the most motivating thing. It's like a Dorian Yates making fun of the gold gym guys because they're out in California tanning on the beach after their workouts. I'm gonna trudge through the snow or like. I think there's something to that. I couldn't explain it exactly, but once it starts cooling down, people start to get a little more serious. It's not so. It's as though playtime has ended and now class is back in session. And I think that is a good move. I think that I'm excited for that to happen, because there's always ebbs and flows, and of course we only see like the social media version of like who posts what and talks about what. But even on like a real level, like at your gym, at whatever gyms that you go to, you see it. Certain times of the year, it's just sometimes it's jumping and everybody's getting after it, and then sometimes it's like totally dead. So the last thing I want to do is be someone who gets caught in that tide, who gets caught in the riptide of, it's nice out today, man. Come on, I don't want to be cooped up inside the gym. Well, let's just chill today. Or whatever the motivation is to think, or I guess this would be like the opposite of motivation, to think, all right, let's take today off, let's chill. And I definitely don't want to, only come in when everybody's feeling hyped and thinking like, all right, it's February, it's December, we're locking in. Like, it happens, but you want to be, let's just say you want to be there whether the tide's coming in, it's calm, it's a freaking tidal wave. Like, you don't want that to throw you off your game. That's how I think about it, at least. And I'm sure guys who are like that. Even if you don't know them, you see them because they're there. They are at the gym somehow, inexplicably. Even when you come in at different times, they're still there. It just happens to line up like a synchronicity. But there's people out there where they actually get it done. They don't even have to say that they're going to do it, because they don't feel the need to defend themselves about how hard they're going to go or how consistent they're going to be or just, how much they want it, because they identify as it. You know, if you really identify and in your core you want it for real, and it could be anything, then what's going to stop you? You know, and you don't have to, you know, go around talking about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and what it's going to be like when you do it, because you already know it's going to happen, right? I mean, this is a little bit of an analogy I like to think of, where based on whatever current set of circumstances are in place, the outcome of the situation, you know, beyond the, you know, quantum physics, whatever, is basically guaranteed. You know, like if there's a car headed towards me right now, the guy gets a phone call and it's something, I don't know, crazy, he gets distracted and then he starts swerving, and maybe I just happen to sneeze at the exact right time, well then that's a setup for a freaking incident, you know? Or if you knock over a glass of milk and it's in the air, it hasn't hit the ground yet, but it's in the air, what's gonna happen? It's gonna spill, the cup's gonna break, you're gonna make a freaking mess. So how I translate that into more of kind of a positive outlook is, okay, if someone is such that they're gonna hit the gym on the regular, they allocate a certain amount of time in their day to do it, and this isn't an 8-hour thing. Like this is an hour. I can almost guarantee we both wasted an hour today just sitting on our phone doing nothing. You know, at least nothing like super productive. And it's not like you have to be Gary V 24/7, like you can't chill sometimes. But like even getting into the gym, it's not that crazy. You know, it's not the wildest thing in the world. You're not going to boot camp. You're just going in to scan your card and say hi to your buddies. But for someone who is wired such that they are going to do it, they know they're going to do it, and nothing's going to stop them from doing it, well, guess what? What do you simulation, like if you put do, right? Let's freeze time in a simulation, like if you put, they know they're going to do it, and nothing's going to stop them from doing it. Well, guess what? What do you think they're going to do, right? Let's freeze time in a simulation, like if you put, imagine this guy is Neo, and you put him in a simulation matrix where it's just a gym, and then you're Morpheus watching. You're like, okay, I wonder what he's going to do in the gym simulation. It's not a wonder, man. Right? The guy's going to get a pump, and he's going to say, this is awesome, and then he's going to keep doing it. You know, so it's not as though you can't, or you can become a completely unstoppable force, right? Those don't necessarily exist. There's no immovable object, but in a way, you kind of can. You know, I mean, what's really going to stop you? No one in particular is going to camp outside the gym, see you walk in, and say, "Hey, buddy, you're done. You're not going in here again." There is no, at least physical force to keep you from getting after it, right? There's your own subconscious force of like, you know, maybe I'm busy with other things, I'm just not in the mood. I think not in the mood is kind of a classic, where it's just, you know, things aren't going your way, you don't feel awesome, and then because things aren't going your way and you don't feel awesome, you stop lifting as much, you get out of your groove, and then now that you're out of the groove, you're like, fuck it, I'm already, you know, and it's just not something I like to even imagine, right? So I'm not saying it's easy. Of course, if you ever get out of the groove like that, you know, this isn't like, oh, what a punk. Like, that's not how I'm trying to say it, you know, because sometimes that happens, right? We're not just computers, you know, you're a real human mind with thoughts and emotions. Like, shit's gonna happen. That's probably the best guarantee in life. Shit's gonna go down. So it's more of just trying to be able to handle it, right? Just be able to handle it, and don't catch yourself degressing. You know, even if you just have to maintain, even if something's a little, or just anything in your life, in your day, with the people you know, with your family, with whatever. To degress is really where you start to lose your position in this battle. Right? Not that we're gonna have to battle, but just bear with me here, Because if you can at least hold strong, keep working out, maybe your workouts aren't the best, but the fact that you hit it anyway means you just whooped everybody else who would have given up and chilled. So it's just, it's more of a mind will lead and the body will follow type of situation. But I'm a little bit spoiled because it's pretty rare that I feel like I want to chill. Really, it only happens if I don't even remember the last time it happened. So I guess that's a little pretentious for me to say, like, oh, just get after it, But we've all been there in some way or a freaking other. But I can guarantee the gym is going to be empty, just from insider info. So I think nothing else to say. Let's just go get started. Let's not start with anything too out of the ordinary. And I've been having a little bit of a habit of doing 3 sets of a push down, then 3 sets of a curl, 2 sets of a push down, 2 sets of a curl, 1 set of a push down, 1 set of a curl, and then a finisher superset where I do like a set of push downs, maybe alternate between push downs and curls, really just for the sake of like getting as pumped as possible. But I think the nature of that workout kind of has a little bit of like a limiting aspect, because the way it's kind of wrote out is you want to be done at that 7th set. 3, 2, 1, 1 finisher, and then that's it. So I don't want the workouts to have an end, because what if I could do 2 more? Like, what if 2 more still felt solid and I could still get more out of the tank with them? So I think today, instead of doing that kind of decreasing approach, let's just do 2 of each. So 2 ropes, and then I think 2 cable preachers right over there. Go back and, well, actually, no, not go back and forth. Just do 2 here and then 2 there, and then decide. So once I've done those 2 of each, I can either move on and, do 2 new movements, repeat a movement, do a new movement on the other one, or just repeat the 2 if they really click, right? So I'm not really concerned what the outcome is, but what I'm concerned with is I want to make sure that whatever the outcome ends up being feels the best, right? So if I think that these 2 movements, after I do 2 sets of each, I don't really want to do another one, well, then that's cool, right? I'll move on. But if I think I really want to do 2 more, well, then I'll do that too, right? There's no wrong answer. This is almost a choose your own adventure kind of workout. Not too heavy. Yeah, 1 notch heavier, but still not too heavy. All right. Yeah, 1 more of those, then a preacher, and then we'll find out what's next. That was a good opener, though. All right. Yeah, let's start doing some preacher curls next. A little different approach than normal. I flipped this guy over, so instead of a regular preacher, it's a little spiderish, if you kind of get what I'm saying. But not really, because the cable's still way over here. All that's to say is this is going to be good. I can do 1 more notch of weight, but this is about as much as necessary. Or not yet necessary, but like just effective. There is always a point where you're really just doing too much weight for no reason. And, it's not for no reason. We know why, because it's cool to go heavy. But, yeah, this is actually a good squeezing set. If I do a nasty heavy one after, well, that's just what happens. Okay. Oh, goodness. All right. One more. A little lighter. That was actually a little too heavy. Okay. Oh my goodness. Let me spin this thing around. And then the next set will be a regular style preacher. But there we go. Let's get back to pushdowns. Nothing wild, just a hefty straight sets of failure with some partials. Executed with, relative tastefulness. Okay. Oh, gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm torn. Let's do dumbbells. Let's change it up. I don't want to get too repetitive. I was about to do dumbbell curls, but I think it might be a little more fun to change it up and just slap an easy bar onto this row. So nothing fancy, it's just a different way of loading it. But with a cable, you got the cable action, so the weight to your hand isn't 1-to-1. Like on a cable curl, like with a regular stack, you lift your handle a foot, the weight only goes up half a foot. But here, handle goes up a foot, weight goes up a foot. You're getting the full kind of connection force of as many places you load. And 325s is just about right. Oh, goodness. Whew. All right. One more. Okay. Whew. Okay. Time for a push down. That was good. Very different. This will be good. A little reverse pull down, push down. Or no, not pull down, pull over, push down. Okay. Whew. Ooh, okay. One more of those. 130 seems like a good sweet spot. Let's do one more combo finisher. So it actually did up being 6 sets and then the finisher. Then we can pose down. Very good arm day so far. Now it just needs the finishing touches. All right, I'm thinking rope pushdowns, run over to do seated curls, and probably go back and forth at least twice. Should add up to a fully pumped up set of arms. Same weight for each, I think. 150. So this is more so for the purpose of just getting as much blood into my arms as possible at the end. But I'm still squeezing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, all right. Let's pose down. I'm fully freaking pumped now. That was most certainly a solid arm day. Now, I know I said I didn't want to do just 6 sets of everything and then one finisher at the end, but the fact that it ended up that way, it's not throwing me off my game. That's just kind of, how the cookie crumbled. And right now, I feel pumped as shit. Part of it may just be travel inflammation, which, probably not the most beneficial, but if it adds to how pumped you are, it can't be that bad. But let's get the exposure down just one more notch and see how we're looking from the back. So, a little old school, but this camera is like all the other old school camcorder videos I was recording. This is like the big brother. So it's a little better looking. It doesn't just look like total trash. Yeah, let's see. All right. Yeah, we're working with something now. Ooh. There we go. Right there. Oh man. All right. So that's what I want to see, right? Beyond the obvious of just being kind of pumped. Like the part of this that I like the most is the fact that my arms are looking a little more brolic compared to like my midsection and torso than usual, right? Because right now, my midsection isn't substantially leaner. It's getting leaner gradually, but like it's going to take a while. So what's happening is gradually this diameter is decreasing, and I don't have a ton of fat deposits on my arms, so my arms aren't really shrinking. So what that's making it look like is that my arms are like growing and increasing in size, whereas, you know, my midsection almost appears to shrink, which is kind of the whole game of dieting down anyway. Oh. Holy shit. All right, that's a good shot. Oh. Yeah. Even starting to get a little bit of ab definition. Like, nothing insane, but as I get leaner and all these little lines start to, you know, go from this maybe like 1/4 inch pinchable skin to more like forearm thickness, 1/8 inch pinchable, this will start looking pretty wild. And it's the freak factor is already increasing in front of my friggin' eyes. All right, let's do one more double bite. I can't help myself. Zoom in just a little more. Oh my goodness. All right, we're freaking done. Let's roll. There we go. All right. All right, all right, all right. That was a good one. That was a good one. And going into it, I don't know if I even really felt like a weapon today. You know, of course I was feeling good, decently strong. You know, not really too tired or anything. Caffeine did its job, but I don't know if I really walked in the doors feeling like a lethal weapon. But come time for that pose down, yeah, guess what? Honestly, I should probably wear freaking double layer leather gloves and safety goggles, just based off of that lethality and freaking sharpness. Now, of course, I don't mean final product sharpness, but in a gradual improvement sense, I'm starting to feel pretty good. And that's what I want to see. It's not such that you have to, you know, let's say your goal is you wanted to, I don't know, let's say it's a powerlifting kind of thing. Let's say you want to hit a 315 bench. That's your goal. Or you want to hit 18-inch arms pumped, or 18-inch arms unpumped, you know, whatever. Whatever that goal is, it's not like you're going to be pissed until the one day that you achieve the goal, and then suddenly everything is going to be freaking sunshine and rainbows. No. Right? If anything, the fun part is pursuing it, because once you've done it, now you've just proved you could do it, so you're not pushing yourself anymore, right? You got to set a new goal to keep moving forward. So I'm more concerned with just maintaining a trajectory, making changes on the regular, and if I can notice those changes and, you know, keep heading in the direction that they're leading to get to wherever I want to be at any given time, you know, later in the year, or well, way later next year, get up to crazy bulk state, going into the end of this year, getting leaner, whatever the goal may be at the time, as long as I'm actually on track towards it, it doesn't really matter how long it's going to take or how quick those results come, because I know that they're happening, right? But it's not quick. It's, you know, let's say you're watching a bunch of guys doing construction and some kind of something, maybe they're getting in the way of your regular commute, I don't know, whatever, right? It seems like they're not doing anything sometimes because you're not seeing any changes. You're like, what the fuck's going on here? This guy's been here for however long. And then before you know it, whoa, they added a new something or other, and actually that improves my day. Sweet, you know, or whatever. Insert your own example that you can think of. So I guess all I'm trying to say is the people who I think maybe set themselves up to get a little extra discouraged are the ones who just they're not satisfied with bits of progress. They need the whole pie right now. They need their cake and they need to eat it too, rather than, waiting in line for it and knowing like, all right, I'm getting closer. I'm getting there, right? It's like back if you were a kid and you remember when the Nintendo Switch got released, or I remember when I was a kid, I must have been like 10 or something at the time, and I was like 80% sure I was going to get a 3DS for my birthday, and I was like, that whole day I was just freaking amped. It's not like I was pissed until I got it. I was like, oh shit, I know this thing's going to happen. Right? It's just so. I guess what I'm trying to get at is going back to what I was saying on the car ride here. If you know you're going to make it happen, right? If you know that you're going to do what it takes to get to whatever your end goal is, then it's really almost as though you've already achieved it, right? Because it's not like you think, I mean, sometimes there's curveballs, whatever, what are you going to do? But for the most part, if you know you're already on track, then the goal has already been achieved. You're just waiting for the pieces to fall into place as you keep going, right? It's, I'm trying to think of another example of something that could kind of like phrase this better, but I guess there's just not really a ton, It's like once, well, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right? So if you can have that firm belief, if you can really visualize what you want to do, how you're going to do it, what you're going to do to do it, get a plan in place so that you can make it happen. All you have to do is follow the plan. With working out, dieting, it's really not the most complicated thing in the world. We're hyping up exercise Scientologists exercise scientists and physiologists, but for the most part, we all get the gist, right? Work out, sweat, eat less food, do some cardio. Holy crap, you're in shape, right? It's a weird roundabout thought process because we think we're smart as people and we're like, okay, how can I do it the quick way? How can I do it the sneaky way? Where it's like, how can I look like someone who works out a lot? You just answered the question. Work out a lot. How can I look like someone who really cares about their diet? Start caring about your diet, right? Start doing the things that it takes to get to where you want to go, and then the sooner you can actually just accept that reality, the better, right? Because it's getting back to the spilled milk analogy in a different context. The milk is spilled, right? You know what you have to do to do it, or have to do to actually clean it up. So why are you making a fuss, right? Just grab some paper towels, start counting your calories, start doing some cardio. The cardio is not even that hard. Or if you're someone who you can't stand it, you really can't stand 30 minutes of cardio. That's just not you can't do it. You're only going to work out and then you're going home. At least track your step, like X number of steps in per day. I see a lot of guys do that. Like, I'm pretty sure Tristan Lee, he's a guy who's just diced literally 24/7, 365, right? He is always on it with his diet. I can guarantee it. And I feel like I see him show his like steps tracking for the day, basically every day. I don't know how many he's eating. It's like 20,000. So maybe look up like, okay, what's the daily step equivalent of 30 minutes of cardio? And then just make sure you get that in. If you seriously just cannot sit on the seated bike for 30 minutes. But I'd say just sit on the bike, man. 30 minutes and you're done. And during those 30 minutes, all you do is play on your phone and chill. Like, it's not even, it's like mindless, right? It's not even the craziest thing in the freaking world. But, I'm a little spoiled because I don't mind the cardio. But yeah, if you can see what you want, then you'll have at least slightly better odds of getting it. I think that's my ending piece for the drive home. But yeah, in terms of food, I don't know what the heck I want to eat right now. I might just go, might do pounded ground beef. I don't know. No matter what the meal is, it's going to look like this. 60, maybe 70 grams of protein just because I'm kind of extra hungry right now. No more than 20 grams of fats, and probably no more than 40 grams or 50-ish grams of carbs. whatever meal adds up to those numbers will be what I end up grubbing on. But yeah, it's about to be Olympia weekend. So if you're around, if for whatever reason you happen to be in the Vegas area and you work out, I'll be there. Somewhere. You know, I'm not exactly sure where, but I will be there. That's going to be a fun week. But I think nothing else to say. I'll see you tomorrow for either legs or a rest day. I'm not sure which. I'm not sure which. So, TBD.